Think about your body for a second, not as a collection of organs, but as a massive, complex, biological computer. Every second, trillions of commands are being sent to repair a cell, burn fat, or fire a neuron. But what if we could actually intercept those commands? What if we could start writing the code ourselves?
It sounds like science fiction, right? Like we're talking about the Matrix or some futuristic biolab. But the reality is that we are already entering that era. We're moving away from the old model of wait until it breaks, then try to fix it, and moving toward a world of proactive biological programming. And the language being used to write that code? It's peptides.
It's a word that's suddenly everywhere. You see it in fitness forums, longevity clinics, and high-level executive health circles. But I think there's a lot of confusion. People hear peptides, and they think of mysterious vials or experimental shortcuts. Can we just strip away the mystery for a second? What are we actually looking at under the microscope?
At its simplest level, a peptide is just a short chain of amino acids. If a protein is a long, complex book, a peptide is like a specific, targeted sentence. And because they are smaller, they act as biological messengers. They aren't foreign invaders. Your body already makes thousands of them to regulate everything from your sleep cycles to how fast your skin heals after a scrape. What's changed is that we've finally figured out how to synthesize these sentences to tell the body exactly what we want it to do.
So, it's less like taking a heavy-duty drug that hammers the whole system, and more like whispering a specific instruction to a specific cell.
Exactly. It's precision. Traditional medicine often feels like using a sledgehammer to hang a picture frame. You get the job done, but there's a lot of collateral damage, what we call side effects. Peptides, in theory, offer a scalpel. They target specific receptors. If you want to signal the body to release more growth hormone or reduce inflammation in a specific joint, you send the specific peptide message for that task.
That explains why the health hacking community is obsessed with this. But let's address the elephant in the room. The massive explosion of GLP-1 things, like semaglutide and tirzepatide. That's really what brought peptides into the mainstream, isn't it?
Absolutely. It was the big bang moment for this field. For decades, we treated obesity as a failure of willpower. But these GLP-1 peptides proved it's actually a neurohormonal issue. By mimicking the natural peptides that tell your brain you're full or tell your pancreas to manage insulin, we've seen results that were previously only possible through surgery. It's shifted the entire conversation from diet harder to let's fix the metabolic signaling.
It's fascinating because it's not just about weight anymore. I've been reading that these same metabolic peptides are being studied for cardiovascular health and even protecting the liver. It's like a domino effect of health benefits once you get the underlying signaling right.
And that's the gateway drug to the broader world of biohacking. Once people see that a peptide can fix their metabolism, they start asking, what else can I optimize? They start looking at things like BPC 157 or TB 500. These are the names you hear whispered in locker rooms and by elite athletes.
Right, the recovery peptides. I've heard stories of people with nagging tendon injuries that wouldn't heal for years, and suddenly, they're back on the field. But here's my concern. If the science is so incredible, why aren't these being prescribed by every family doctor in the country?
Because the internet moves at the speed of light, and clinical science moves at the speed of, well, science. While we have robust human data for things like insulin or GLP-1s, many of these recovery peptides are still in the anecdotal and animal study phase. There's a massive gap between a biohacker saying, "This healed my ACL," and the FDA saying, "This is safe for the general population." We have to be careful not to let the hype outpace the evidence. Biology is incredibly complex. You pull one lever, and you might accidentally move a gear you didn't even know existed.
That's a fair point. It's easy to get caught up in the superhuman narrative and forget that we're dealing with delicate homeostatic balances. But speaking of superhumans, let's talk about the brain. This is where it starts to feel really futuristic. Cognitive enhancement. Are we actually looking at peptides that can make us sharper or protect us from aging?
We are. And this is perhaps the most profound frontier. we're looking at peptides that influence neuroplasticity, the brain's ability to rewire itself. Imagine a future where we don't just wait for someone to develop Alzheimer's. Instead, we monitor cognitive decline in your 40s and use peptides to reinforce the neural pathways. It's moving from preventing death to extending health span.
I love that distinction. Health span versus lifespan. No one wants to live to 100 if the last 30 years are spent in a state of physical and mental decay. If peptides can help us maintain muscle mass, keep our brains sharp, and keep our inflammation low, we're talking about a completely different version of old age.
It's the Peter Attia approach to medicine. You look at the four horsemen of aging: heart disease, cancer, neurodegeneration, and type 2 diabetes, and you realize they all have roots in metabolic and cellular dysfunction. If peptides can act as the maintenance crew for our cells, we're not just living longer, we're staying younger for longer.
But there's a shadow side to this, isn't there? If this becomes the future of medicine, I worry about the biological divide. If these treatments are expensive and require high-level supervision, do we end up with a society where only the elite can afford to be optimized, while everyone else just deals with standard decay?
That is a massive ethical hurdle. We're already seeing it with the cost of weight loss peptides. If biological optimization becomes a luxury good, we risk creating a two-tier system of human capability. Not to mention the regulatory Wild West we're in right now. You can go online right now and buy research chemicals that claim to be peptides, but there's zero guarantee of purity. People are essentially performing chemistry experiments on themselves.
It's the classic Icarus problem. We're flying toward the sun with these incredible tools, but if we don't have the right guardrails, we're going to get burned. So, if we look down the road, say, 10 or 20 years, how does this actually integrate into our daily lives? Is it a pill, an injection, an AI-managed patch?
I think the real magic happens when you combine peptides with AI and wearables. Imagine your smartwatch isn't just counting steps, but monitoring your real-time glucose, your inflammatory markers, and your stress hormones. The AI analyzes that data and says, your recovery is lagging and your systemic inflammation is spiking. Then, it suggests a personalized peptide protocol tailored specifically to your biology that day.
Precision medicine at its peak. It's no longer one size fits all. It's this specific molecule for this specific person at this specific moment.
Exactly. We're moving toward biological programming. We're learning to talk to our cells in their own language. It's a shift from being passive observers of our health to being active pilots.
It's a lot to take in. It's equal parts exhilarating and a little bit terrifying. But I suppose that's the nature of every major frontier in human history. We're essentially learning to edit the human experience.
And the most important thing for anyone listening is to remember that while the tools are changing, the goal is the same: resilience. Whether it's through a peptide, a better diet, or better sleep, we're all just trying to build a version of ourselves that can handle whatever the world throws at us. Peptides are just a very, very powerful new set of tools in that kit.
A powerful set of tools indeed. It feels like we're just scratching the surface of what's possible. As the science catches up to the hype, who knows? The optimized human might just become the new standard.
It's a brave new world, and we're all just trying to learn the code. The question is, once we can rewrite our biology, what kind of story do we want to tell?
That's a question that might take us another few decades to answer. But for now, the conversation is just beginning. It's been a fascinating deep dive into the microscopic world that's going to have a massive impact on our macroscopic future.
Definitely. The future isn't just something that happens to us anymore, it's something we're starting to build, one amino acid at a time.
Well said. To everyone listening, stay curious, stay skeptical, and most importantly, stay informed. The science is moving fast, and you don't want to be left behind. We'll see you next time.